Once upon a time, in a small town, there lived a boy named Jack. Jack was so lazy that even lifting a finger seemed like a chore to him. His mother, who worked tirelessly as a maid in the town, often worried about her son. Despite her love for him, she couldn't help but feel frustrated as the villagers began calling him Lazy Jack. Jack's mother had always been patient with him, hoping he would find his way, but her health started to deteriorate. One day, she fell seriously ill, bedridden with a high fever. She could no longer work, and asked Jack, with a voice trembling with worry, to find a way to earn money, or else they would have nothing to eat. For the first time, Jack saw the reality of their situation. His mother's health and their poverty hit him hard, and he realized that he had to step up, determined to help. He promised his mother that he would find work and bring something home. Jack's first job was working for a farmer, who paid him 2 pennies for his labor. Overjoyed with his first earnings, Jack ran home as fast as he could, but in his excitement, he didn't notice that the pennies had slipped from his hand. He arrived home empty-handed and downcast. "Mom," Jack said, "I lost the money on the way home." His mother, though frustrated, saw the effort he was making. "Next time, Jack," she advised, "put the money in your pocket so it won't fall out." The following day, Jack was hired by a milkman, who paid him with a jar of milk. Remembering his mother's advice, Jack poured the milk into his pocket and ran home. Of course, the milk soaked through his clothes, leaving him drenched and with nothing to show for his work. When he arrived home, his mother saw his soggy state and couldn't help but smile at the ridiculousness of the situation. "Oh, Jack," she said with a chuckle, "you should have carried the milk jar on your head. But don't worry, you'll get it right next time." On the third day, Jack was given a bar of cheese as payment. Eager to avoid another mistake, he carried the cheese on his head, just as his mother had suggested for the milk. But it was a hot, sunny day, and by the time Jack got home, the cheese had melted away. Jack, exasperated, told his mother what had happened. She gently corrected him. "You should have carried the cheese in your hands, Jack. But you're learning. Don't give up." The next day, Jack worked at a cattle farm and was given a kitten as payment. Loving the kitten, he carried it in his hands as his mother had suggested for the cheese. However, the kitten was too playful and jumped out of his arms, running off into the fields. Jack returned home, disheartened. "Mom, I lost the kitten," Jack said sadly. His mother sighed, but with a hint of humor, replied, "You should have tied it with a rope and led it home. But don't worry, Jack, you're getting closer." On the 5th day, Jack was rewarded with a large piece of meat for his work. Determined not to lose it, he tied the meat to a rope and dragged it all the way home. By the time he arrived, the meat was spoiled, covered in dirt and grime. His mother, seeing the ruined meat, couldn't hold back her frustration this time. "Oh, Jack, you should have carried it on your shoulders, not dragged it on the ground." But seeing his crestfallen face, she softened. "It's okay, son, you're trying, and that's what matters. You'll get it right soon." Determined to succeed, Jack went to work in a nearby town the next day and stayed there for a week. For his hard work, he was rewarded with a donkey. Remembering his mother's advice to carry things on his shoulders, Jack hoisted the donkey onto his back and began the long journey home. As he walked through the town, people stared in disbelief. A young girl, who had been sick and bedridden for years, happened to see Jack carrying the donkey. She burst out laughing, something she hadn't done in 5 long years. Her father, the richest man in town, was moved to tears by the sound of his daughter's laughter. When Jack reached home, the rich man followed him and thanked him for bringing joy back into his daughter's life. He offered Jack and his mother a place to stay and work in his grand house. Jack, realizing how his foolishness had unexpectedly led to something wonderful, decided from that day on to always think carefully before acting. From then on, Jack did his work properly, learning from his mistakes and becoming a respected member of the community. He and his mother lived happily ever after, with Jack's journey from laziness to responsibility serving as a lesson to all.